Okay, so in this video we're going to have a look at how you would rewrite ratios as fractions and as percentages. Now, don't forget, fraction is made up of two parts, the numerator, which is the top number, and the denominator, which is the bottom number. Now, in terms of the ratio and how that links, the numerator, the top number, is the part of the ratio that you want, and the denominator will be the total number of parts. And you'll see what I mean in a second when we look at an example. So that's when we make it into a fraction. Now, to make it into a percentage, you would make it a fraction first and then make it into a percentage, okay? And if you've forgotten how to do that, remember that percent means out of 100, okay? So we need to multiply the fraction to make the denominator out of 100. So for example, if you were making 7/10 into a percentage, you want it to be out of 100 instead, because percent means out of 100. To get from 10 to 100, you times it by 10. You do the same thing to the numerator, which is 70, so that's 70%. So just as a quick recap for how you do that. So moving straight on to the examples then. Let's have a look at this first question together. Now, it says, there are red, blue and blue counters in a bag in the ratio 3:5. So that means that red is 3 and blue is 5, because that's the order that they're in the question. Now it asks, what fraction are red? Now we know that 3 parts are red, and we want to write it down out of the total number of parts. So don't forget, the total number of parts is both of these things added together, which would be 8, okay? The common mistake people make is they put 3 over 5, but 5 isn't the total. 5 is how many blue parts there are. So 3 out of 8 is your final answer. So it's not very difficult, it's just about avoiding that common mistake. The bottom is the total number of parts. Okay, part B, what fraction are blue? So this time it's 5 at the top, because that's how many parts are blue. Again, out of the total of 8. Nice and easy. Okay, the next one is going to be looking at how you make it into a percentage. So the question says, Tom, Maria and Andy share some money in the ratio 4:7:9. So Tom gets 4, Maria gets 7 and Andy gets 9. Now, what percentage of the money does Maria get? So Maria is represented by 7 parts. So do you remember in our key points, we said we're going to make it a fraction first. So that's what we're going to do now. So Maria gets 7 parts out of a total. Don't forget, we have to add these up to get our total. Out of a total of 20 parts. So Maria, as a fraction, gets 7/20ths of the money. But the question asks for it to be a percentage. Don't forget, percent means out of 100. So we want 7/20ths to be out of 100 instead. So you've got to think, right, how do I get from 20 to 100 by multiplying? You times it by 5. Whatever you do to the denominator, you have to do to the numerator. So do 7 times 5 is 35. So this fraction is 35 out of 100. And don't forget, we're looking for percentage. Percent means out of 100, so it's 35%. So Maria gets 35% of the money. So you make it into a fraction first. Don't forget, the bottom is the total number of parts, and then make it into a percentage. So make sure you've got those written down and understood, and then have a go at these 2 questions on your own. Pause the video and come back to see how you did. Okay, so the first question. There are green, yellow and purple marbles in a box in the ratio 3:5:8. What fraction are green? So green is first, then yellow, then purple. So green is 3 parts, and you want a total. Don't forget, you add them up. 3 add 5 add 8 is 16. So green is 3 out of 16, and that's it. Next one. Jamie and Kian share some sweets in the ratio 3:10. What percentage does Jamie get? So Jamie is first, Kian is second. So Jamie, as a fraction first, and then we make it into percentage, gets 3 out of a total. Don't forget, 3 add 7 is 10. So he gets 3/10 as a fraction, but we're looking for a percentage. Percent means out of 100, so we need to make the denominator 100 instead. How do you get from 10 to 100? You times it by 10. Needs to do the same thing to the top. 3 times 10 is 30, which gives us 30%. And that's our final answer. So make sure you've got those corrected and move on to the worksheet or exit card.